Good evening. Actually, seems I was just here. Wasn't it in January we announced the draft coming to Buffalo? And to see the excitement and to see Buffalo, which has always been a great hockey market, to be enthused, alive, excited, it's fun to see. And so while I don't have any news to break, I'm here to just take in the scenery. And I'm happy to take questions. Or not. Yes. Yeah. No? Yep.
Alrighty. Hey, Gary, how you doing? If you look at the current playoff field, we have a Philadelphia Flyers team that has 10 fewer regulation wins than the Capitals team that missed the playoffs. We have an LA Kings team that is second last in the NHL in regulation victories. Has there been any appetite for exploring a change to the standings format in the future?
No. I mean, a lot of people, particularly in your line of work, suggest that what we have works well. Every season or every few seasons or once in a blue moon, you may get an aberration. But I think if you look at the games in terms of how the playoffs have started, I don't think there's anything wrong with the system. You're getting great matchups. You're getting great rivalry matchups. The hockey has been overwhelmingly sensational. So, no, I don't see it as a problem. Things vary from year to year. If there was a problem long term, we would take a look at it and we'd see if we needed to adjust. But I don't think we're at this point in search of a problem that needs to be fixed. By the way, but just one other thing. Buffalo playing Boston, that's a pretty good matchup. The Battle of Pennsylvania, that's a pretty good matchup. You know, you look around at the matchups, we're seeing, and we're going to continue to see great hockey. And ultimately, you know, if one conference is stronger, one division is stronger, you'll see things like you've pointed out too. But if you're going to win the Stanley Cup, you got to go through the best teams ultimately in the playoffs. So, a little bit more to the answer.
Gary, you've got the arena going up now in Calgary. You've got a lot of renovation work in Washington going up. Ottawa's on paper. San Jose is getting ready to do some major work. And here we are here near and dear to the KeyBank Center. Now that the football stadium is essentially almost finished, how incumbent is it for this organization and for the government entities in this area, in this state, to really start moving on doing something with this arena?
This is a building that has really good bones. Does it need some updates? Sure. The focus has been the new Highmark Stadium, and that's understandable. But the question you're asking is a question that I know Terry Pagula and Pete Gwelly and the organization have been focused on, and they'll get to it. I have no doubt about it.
Gary, thanks for doing this. Over the arc of your 30-plus years, you know, we've seen all these Department of Player Safety get involved, stats get involved. Now there's this growing beast of gambling. And I'm curious, from a management infrastructure system, what's in place for protecting integrity of the game, monitoring games, building out staff to do that?
We monitor every minute of every game, both in terms of what's taking place in terms of play and what, if anything, is happening with the lines. We have outside organizations, service providers that do that for us. I will say that I have the utmost confidence in NHL personnel, whether it's the players or supporting staff. But this is something we take very seriously. Players and personnel are briefed and given educational lectures on what is and isn't appropriate conduct. Our head of security happens to be with me tonight, Jared Maples, and this is of the utmost priority, tracking and making sure that there's no concerns about the integrity of what's taking place in our game. And when you look at our game and the way it plays, it's not like some of the other games. It's not so easy for people to be tampering with it. But putting that aside, we don't take that for granted. We monitor proactively, constantly. Jared, do you want to add anything to that? Thanks. Good answer.
Gary, the growth of women's hockey, and we saw how it seemed to be, it reached this an equal stage coming out of Milan. What do you make of what the PWHL has done in its 3 seasons, and the fact that it's planning to expand up to an extra 4 teams this year?
I think it's sensational. We're very supportive. To the extent they needed our assistance in the initial season, we were there for them. And if you talk to Stan Kasten, he'll tell you we continue to be supportive, and we look for ways to engage and help promote. I think it's great.
And Gary, we asked you in October, I'll ask you again, have you had a tour of the new Highmark Stadium? Do you plan to take a tour at some point soon? What is the status of that?
Well, if I keep coming back and I need something to do, I may take a tour. I haven't toured the football stadium. That would be more as a matter of curiosity to see what a highly respected NHL owner is doing in another sport. But if I'm here and I have some spare time, I'll probably go take a tour of it.
But it would be incumbent on you at some point soon, I assume, to see it if you're thinking about putting an outdoor game there in a couple of years.
Oh, that's where you're going with the question. Okay. In terms of doing site surveys, there are people with greater stadium expertise than me that will make that evaluation. I believe it's not a question of if, it's a question of when we play an outdoor game in the new stadium. You know, we're coming up on the 20th anniversary of the first Winter Classic. I'm not making an announcement now, but we're focused on it. And listen, we don't hesitate to bring events here. We're bringing the draft. We do the combine here. We do officials training camp here. So yeah, we'll probably. No, we definitely will be bringing an outdoor game to the new stadium. It's really just a question of when. That was a cryptic way to answer the question, but that's okay.
I have to ask the standard expansion question here.
Yes.
The last couple of rounds, if I remember right, it was $500 million for Vegas, $650 million for Seattle. As it's creeping toward $1 billion, your answer has always been you measure interest by how cities are evincing interest in expansion. As it gets to $1 billion, are cities still evincing interest?
Well, actually, if we were to expand, it would be substantially more than $1 billion. And what I think people tend to forget, for the most part, when you expand, the expansion fee is really to reimburse the existing clubs for revenues that they're giving up, because there is an economic value. If you're at 32 teams and you expand to 33, you're now taking National League revenues, and instead of dividing them 32 ways, you're dividing them 33 ways, and that incremental division has an economic value over time, whether you do it over 10 or 20 years. So based on the growth of revenues and everything else, and what's going on in terms of franchise values, I would venture to say that $1 billion wouldn't even be close to what we would seek. But first and foremost, we're focused on if there's interest that makes sense and checks the boxes, then we'll figure out if we want to expand. I'm not under any mandate or instructions from ownership to pursue expansion if expansion makes sense. And again, at 10,000 feet, you look at ownership, you look at market, you look at arena, and you look at whether or not it makes the league stronger. by doing that expansion. And there are a number of cities that have been talking to us, and if any of them decides they're ready to check all the boxes and comes in with a concrete plan, I'll take it to ownership. But
And-
we're not pushing for it.
And as that price has gone up, so you're saying above $1 billion,
Oh, yeah.
are there fewer cities, or
No.
are they the same cities, different cities?
Same, nobody has disengaged over price, but nobody's fully engaged. There are people expressing interest and deciding how and if and when they want to check those boxes, and then we'll get to an economic discussion if it reaches that point.
Gary, the Olympics were a big success viewership-wise this year. I just wanted to get your comment on what you thought of the Olympics as an event, maybe if you saw a bump in what the NHL saw viewership-wise or sales-wise after the Olympics, and if it affirmed your decision to let players go.
If my decision to what?
Allow the players to go.
Oh, we have an understanding with the Players Association. We're focused together on Olympics every 4 years, and in the intervening 2 years, every 4 years, a World Cup. Our players love representing their countries. International competition, I think, is part of their DNA, since a third of our players come from outside of North America, and you have the U.S.-Canada rivalry. And so first and foremost, we know it's important to the players, and they want to do it. We're having a very strong season. We're setting yet another attendance record. Our television ratings are up well into the double digits. Like, I think on our national platforms in the U.S., we're up somewhere between 25 and 30%, which is incredibly strong. We were up going into the Olympics, and we're up even more coming out of the Olympics. And where you started the question, the hockey at the Olympics was sensational. I think it was riveting, and it's a testament to the fact that I think we have the best on best. Oh,
Okay. There were perhaps some heated debates about the player safety review process and handing out supplemental discipline in the regular season. I'm curious if you felt, I guess, internally that there needed to be some conversation about it, and if not, is there a situation where you could foresee there being some sort of overhaul in that respect?
I don't believe it needs an overhaul. If you look at the total body of work, what George Paros and his group does is outstanding. They're monitoring every game in real time. And every now and then you're going to have a particularly difficult or unique call to make. And, you know, people are going to agree or disagree. But if you look at their body of work and the track record in terms of what we've done on player safety, not just from a discipline standpoint, but from an education standpoint, from rule changes, I think the game, particularly based on how fast and physical it is in very good shape. Yes, you know, you'll have a player or two or a team or two that doesn't like the result of a particular incident, but, you know, that's one of the beauties of sports. Not everybody agrees on everything, whether it's point system, playoff format, player safety. But the fact that our fans in particular are so engaged in talking about and debating points of our game, I always take as a strength of our game and a testament to our fans. Yeah.
On the subject of international hockey, have there been any developments as it relates to whether Russia would be allowed in the next World Cup?
There have been no developments. As of now, the International Olympic Committee and the International Ice Hockey Federation, which is the international governing body, has not changed their position, and we're just following their lead in terms of the decision that they've made. If hopefully the world situation will change beyond hockey concerns. Peace is always a good thing.
Just one follow-up on the expansion question. And now that the valuations obviously are going up, maybe you're getting more cities or more people in more cities reaching out. does the priority change for you in terms of what you want from them in a pitch or what you're expecting when in that sense?
That's a really interesting question. The expansion, and I hope I made it clear in terms of the criteria you look at 10,000 feet. We only want to expand when you can do it right. I think what we've done in Vegas and Seattle is emblematic of that. We started both teams with competitive teams. The typical historical model in the major sports for expansion is, putting aside what you charge, it's you don't give the teams a particularly compelling roster, and the initial enthusiasm with them chronically losing for the first 2, 3, 4 years has some of the enthusiasm dissipate, and then once a team's been in the league for 10 years and they're more competitive, the enthusiasm comes back and it works better. In both Vegas and Seattle, the Board of Governors said we have a system that enables all of our teams to be competitive, subject to individual management, and there's no reason for us to bring in clubs that can't be competitive from day one. And I think the way we handled both Vegas, and if you remember, we were the first ones into Vegas, and a lot of people were either critical or skeptical. Turns out there was no reason for the skepticism and criticism, and Seattle as well. And obviously the fact that other leagues are now looking at those markets tells you that what we did worked. And if we're going to do it again, we'll use the same type of format to make sure we're bringing in a strong team, strong ownership, suitable arena, strong market, makes the league stronger, and give them a team that puts them in the league in a place where their games are meaningful from day one. Yes.
So, Gary, we've always heard this thing, at least here locally in Buffalo, that the NHL is a better league when the Buffalo Sabres are a competitive team. But I would also imagine...
Who says that?
A lot
other
of
than people in Buffalo.
Exactly. And that
No.
was going to be my point. I would imagine we hear the exact same thing in pretty much every NHL market. Why, in your estimation, is it different in Buffalo? And do you agree with that?
I don't know that it's different. I think it's really where I started. It's great to see a strong hockey market that traditionally has been a great hockey market, to have, again, the level of enthusiasm and excitement that this market is capable of. People in this market love hockey, okay? It's always been the case. And the team is now in a position that people have something to be really excited about. And after 14 years, it's great to see. So whether it's Buffalo or any other market, when a team goes through a drought, it's great to see the turnaround happen as quickly as it did here. And it's been sensational to watch. Enjoy the game. Enjoy the series. Good to see you all.